Franny.
Yeah, Franny.
My roommate. March 11th, 2011. I turn on my television to find the screen awash with reports of earthquake and flood. Huddled masses tossing on waves of debris. And I, who grew gills tuned to the taste of Korean history long before I ever breathed Seoul city smog, I find myself studying the stream of Japanese faces as if searching for lost family. Imagine Asia as a single vast sea of 4 billion black-haired, yellow, slit-eyed carbon copies, anthill assembly line terracotta soldiers. Look closely, experts say, and you can pick out slight variations in their faces, like a herd of zebras, names coded in a language of stripes like barcodes. In 1942, the U.S. War Department publishes How to Spot a Jap, a pocket field guide for telling the good Asians from the bad ones. Notes on complexion, anatomy. The Chinaman's eyes are set like any Europeans or Americans, but have a marked squint. The Jap has eyes slanted down toward his nose. Here, on the other side of the microscope lens, we too have stuffed our pockets with difference. But without skin color or blue versus gray uniforms, we've instead mapped out seams of history, demilitarized zone wrinkles, sides chosen, tongues spoken. You can tell the difference between us and them, my mother said, because they are the ones who herded our women into camps and mines, devoured and then spit them out like grape pits. My mother drew battle lines around Japanese cartoons, telling us in her broken English about how they made our children forget their own names, burned bridges of language between generations. Remember, Paki is Japanese, Pepero is Korean. We eat kimbap, not sushi, chigim, not tempura, and always remember the 50 years we spent gnawing on barley as we watched harvest after harvest of our sweet white rice shipped out to their empire. And so, when first I heard the reports of crumbling earth, towers ablaze, walls of water steamrolling like freight trains through Sendai city blocks, is it any great surprise that all I could think about was scorched earth, fields ablaze, walls of soldiers steamrolling like freight trains through Seoul city blocks, iron spikes drilled into the Korean mountainsides. In 1904, Japanese writer Okakura Tenshin famously claimed, "Asia is one." 6 years later, Korea was officially annexed to the Japanese Empire. I spent years breaking my Asia into puzzle piece nations, mapping the fault lines between us and them. But this morning, I tore the pages out of my field guide and taped them over the television screen so that the diagrams of enemy bodies and the war-torn timelines were illuminated by a yellow sea of lost faces glowing behind them. An old woman kneels over the carcass of her home. And I know that somewhere, not too far away, my grandmother is on her knees, praying circles around her rosary. They herded our women into camps and mines. A red-faced toddler gapes at a radiation scanner, wearing a wide-eyed, pleading look I swear he borrowed from my little brother years ago. They made our children forget their own names. A woman chokes over her words as she tells the camera how her daughter slipped past her fingers, swept past by swift water. She has a way of rocking back and forth when she cries that is just like my mother's scorched earth. Like my mother, she gasps, wet and hot between words, fields ablaze. Like my mother, she nods bravely, foolishly hopeful to the very end. They drove iron spikes into our hillsides, telling me, "Don't forget, don't you ever forget." This is not about letting bygones be bygones. This is about reclaiming the beautiful reasons given for terrible crimes. 1976, a group of black-haired, yellow, slit-eyed students marches for workers' rights in California. Their banner reads, "Asians, unite." Look closely, and you can pick out slight variations in their faces. In each raised fist, they carry pocket field guides of conflicting histories, faces drawn with battle lines that puzzle into place with one another, like broken cartoon hearts, like cracked earth, bathed in water, angry, shattered, and shining.